joined with some other Instagram channels. So we're going to talk through different trades and different strategies and whatnot. We're excited to finally get this started. Let's do this. All right, I'm pumped. We're finally getting started with some fantasy football, man.
Intro's a bit of a banger, huh?
Yeah, gets you going, gets you in the mood, sets the tone. So here's the deal. We joined a fantasy football league with some other Instagram channels. I'm not sure if they're all channels. I meant to ask them, see if they all have pages or whatnot. But Fantasy Football State of Mind, we joined his league, and we're super stoked about it. New Dynasty league, starting from scratch. And what I love already about this league is it's so active. There's so much activity already. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, man, there's just pick trading and negotiations going on behind the scenes like crazy. We haven't even started the actual draft, and it's already, there's just activities popping off, and I'm excited. It's got my juices flowing.
Oh, it's amazing. Okay, so here's how it kind of started out. We actually drew the number 8 pick in the draft. That's how it was drawn, random drawing or whatever. And then a lot of people were kind of looking, those early picks were actually looking to move back, not as in like trade back. They wanted to actually swap draft positions, for the entire draft. So we actually kind of like being late in the draft, and then we got to looking at some things, and we decided, why not? The number 1 overall pick wanted to trade back. He wanted to swap for the entire. So yeah, we took that, no doubt. It was a free move up to the number 1 overall. That was kind of a no-brainer for us.
Yeah, anytime you got a shot at Christian McCaffrey, you take it, especially for
precisely.
Free.
Yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer because, of course, it's a no-brainer to take Christian McCaffrey there. If you're doubting him, I'm sorry, you're silly. You're buying into some fake news there, because
in any mode,
it
doesn't even matter what scoring system you're in.
Standard, PPR, anything. Yeah, that's silly. You don't PPR, need to doubt him.
Even double quarterback, you're goofy not to take Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. You just can't match that performance there at all. So, yeah. So that's a no-brainer. We're taking Christian McCaffrey at number 1 overall. So since then, there have been a lot of trades going on and everything, and there's been a lot of discussion. And we've actually we pulled off another trade. If we only did one trade, we only did that one trade, right?
We only did the one trade. We've had several discussions, but we finalized one. Yeah.
Yeah, so we actually agreed to a trade last night with another player, and then it changed today. There was still discussions. We had actually agreed to it, and then they came back and had kind of cold feet on it, and we ended up working out a deal that may have ended up being better for us. I don't know. We didn't have to give up as many early rounds here. Should I show this on screen here, Kyle? I can.
Yeah, I would. I've got it pulled up too.
Yeah, let me get this on here. Okay, so here's this our activity over here. There we go. Okay, so there's the trade that we did today. We traded our 2nd round, 5th round, and 8th round for their 1st round. So that 1st round pick is the number 8 overall pick. And we traded our 2nd, which is pick 20, and then 5th and 8th round. Yeah. So in all, we essentially traded our 5th and 8th round to move up 12 spots. Move our 2nd round up to a 1st round. So that's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. We'll have a better 2nd player than anybody else in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be amazing there. Now what we're going to look at tonight is who we're looking at taking maybe at that second round, or that second pick, and then maybe our third pick, our third rounder is pick 21. So it's another good pick. We're going to have three really good picks here early on, so we're super excited about that. It's a little bit different. This person we pulled this trade with, and actually a couple others, are kind of they're selling off their first and second rounders, and they're looking to get maybe late seconds and then third, fourth, and fifth, so they can load up on some depth and some young talent and stuff there. It's actually not a bad strategy for a dynasty league. I actually very much appreciate it, and it's
It's the
probably the strategy I would take if I wasn't playing with you, Kyle. Honestly, I would be a
it's
little bit more
the
conservative, probably.
yeah, it's the Belichick approach, and I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
either strategy works if you know how to work it. I
yeah.
I have done both in the past. I prefer the method we're taking here, being a little more aggressive, moving up, solidifying that foundation a bit more rather than building up like just a solid depth. So this one, will be a little more top heavy. We'll get into the other dynasty here in a little bit, I'm sure, but that one I'll probably not do a lot of training before and just kind of go with just a more of a normal
Well, I
approach
think
there. So kind of
that's
playing
kind
a
of the
little
beauty
bit
of
different.
playing multiple leagues, though, is that you can try these different strategies. Like this
Mm-hmm.
one, I typically would do probably the Belichick type approach there of just kind of playing it safe, getting as many draft picks maybe early on there. Because, I mean, when you're in a redraft like this, a full new draft being the first year of the dynasty, there's so much good talent there between
Yeah.
uh, even 20 and 40. There's such good talent there. So if you can get six picks in there, you're going to load up on some talent. And then you have that depth for in case of injury or something like that. So it's a little bit safer approach. Now that I'm playing with you, and that's probably the approach I'm going to take in my other dynasty. Spoiler alert, I can afford to be a little bit more aggressive in this one, because you and I can kind of navigate that together, make sure we're not doing anything stupid or crazy. We kind of keep each other
Yeah.
grounded a little bit,
I think
but it's fun, and we should have fun with this one since it's our first one doing it together. And the group of people we're with seem like they're ready to have some fun with it too. So
right. I think I'll be more cautious in the other one as well. Probably play more like my more normal style. I like playing this aggressive, but I don't do it often because it's hard to pay off. But the difference
well, it's
between
risky.
it is, it's high risk, high reward, right? I mean, some of the riskier years that I played are the years I won championships. I mean, but there's a there's an added caveat to this one, like redraft. You can try different things every year, kind of see what works. But this one being the dynasty, it's going to affect multiple years down the road how you approach this. So, like the next couple years, we'll have rookie drafts going forward to kind of help build some depth and stuff like that. But we're laying the foundation this year. And we've lost some middle round picks to move up, so we're top heavy. But in those mid to later rounds is really when you pick up your rookies for this year, your longer shots that are kind of waiting for something to happen on that team ahead of them before that you kind of stash for future years. Whereas all these other people are going to be done drafting, like this team that we traded with, they've been trading for seconds through fifths and sixths. They're just stockpiled. So by the 10th round, they're going to be done, and everybody else is going to be filling in their depth then. So every strategy can work if you play it right. We went over during the last stream, kind of what our draft was last year in Roll Tide, and we still kind of made it work and stuff. So you can make anything work if you play it right and play it smart. So
So that's actually a discussion I had with another player on here earlier. He put his first rounder on the trade block, and so I offered him I mean, the best I could do for his first rounder was, our third and fourth round pick. So I offered that up to him, having some fun. And, but that would put his first pick for the entire draft because he's already traded a second rounder away. So that would put his first pick of the entire draft at pick 21. And I told him, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in the same boat this year in another league. My brother was in that same boat last year. So, well, actually, first, before I told him that, I was like, oh, yeah, I've been there, done that, kind of know that feeling. And he's like, and how does your roster look? And I was like, actually, it's not bad. It's very possible. Because I was like, you're going to load up. It would have given him like 2 or 3 third rounders, like 2 fourth rounders and stuff. Like he would have loaded up in those rounds. And honestly, if I had that amount of third and fourth rounders, I'd be super happy looking at the depth, which we'll look at here in a second, the rankings and the players that are available there. Yeah. I mean, he would actually do really well, probably. So
yeah, I think he will. And the person that we, traded with very well too. Like I said, they got a ton of like second, third, and fourth, and then it's like they skipped several rounds, I think, too. Yeah. But I know.
Yeah, it's gonna work out for him.
For the guy you were just talking about, though, I know we sent an offer and he countered. Did we ever get an answer about that count? I forgot. I can't remember if we got an answer.
I declined his counter. I have a trade offer out to him right now. How do I see? Let's see.
It's at the bottom of the.
Oh, 2 outstanding trades. What do I got going here?
Oh, you sent.
I've got 2 trade offers out.
Mr. Omaha.
Yeah, I sent one out to Omaha, not too long ago. So this other one.
Yeah, this is the one I was curious about.
Oh, that's different. This one here is the one you're curious about. I offered him a third, a fourth, and a 14th, and he hasn't declined it. Keep that in mind. He countered. No, that was a different person. He never countered. He messaged me back, and we were talking about it, but he never canceled this one.
I remember he did counter though when he was talking with you.
Yeah. He wanted to do
7th, right, instead of 14.
He wanted the third, fourth, a 7th, and then he wanted to give us like 2 really late rounders. He's probably thinking like a 14, 15 back. So, yeah, I mean, and to me, it's not worth that because that would be for the number 9 overall pick. It's pretty steep for the number 9 overall. That's kind of when you're getting out of that territory. You're already, I think, in my opinion, you're out of the territory of elite. And now you're into the territory of everyone's kind of the same from like value wise between there and like 25 almost. Like I feel like I would be ecstatic to have any of those players. So I'm not really willing to give up my 4th for just having another player that I'm not going to be more happy with that player at number 9 than I am the player we get at 21.
Yeah, I agree.
And so in mentioning that, let me go ahead and pull up these rankings. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here. I'm going Fantasy Pros. That's a go-to for me. We'll pull up some others here so that we can look at some other ones tonight. So looking at these Dynasty rankings, where else should I go for some Dynasty rankings, Kyle? I use Scout Fantasy sometimes. I'm not sure.
Now, the ones that I'm liking, because I've looked at a lot of Dynasty rankings over the last week since we signed up for this thing.
Yeah.
And the ones that I'm liking the most, that I think look the most along the lines of what I'm thinking, is Fantasy Pros.
Yeah, but that's kind of where I'm at too.
But there's this site, if you want to switch over to my screen for a minute.
Hold on. Does ESPN have any rankings out yet?
They do, and there's a link to them on this site that I've got that I want to show everybody.
Let me switch over to. Oh, here, let's do this. Trying to figure out. There we go.
All right, so I guess I should go through the home screen and show you how to get to these rankings. But there's so it's called fantasyrundown.com. If you go up here to the right and go to football and down to 2021 rankings, they update this every year with with the rankings for that year. And basically, you can go down through here. Every like prominent company in the industry is listed on here. So Fantasy Alarm, Yahoo, CBS. Here's Fantasy Pros here. There's ESPN. And then there's a bunch of sites: Fantrax, Rotoballer, SI,
Oh, Fantrax. They're pretty new,
Pro
right?
Football Focus. They're pretty new. I've never seen them before this year.
They
And
just started following us on Instagram, and I gave them the follow back.
yeah,
Yeah,
we can
that's
go look at
interesting.
their rankings here in a minute. They're interesting. Um, they have a full like, it's not linked here, which I think is weird. But they do have a full like overall dynasty rankings page. I'm sure we could navigate to it through that.
Yeah.
Rotoballer, SI are both pretty good. Pro Football Focus. There's our Edge that I use for pretty much everything.
Yep.
FF Today, I like them a lot as well.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like them too.
I use them a whole lot.
Yeah, my main go-to, honestly, is Fantasy Pros.
Fantasy Pros, I like a lot, but I really like FF Today a lot. See, this ESPN, you can go top 240 for Dynasty. They have one for rookies as well. I can't remember. I was looking at these earlier, but I can't remember how up to date they are. April 2nd. So he hasn't updated these since the beginning of the month. But I will say this, the difference between a lot of them is most of them tend to be fairly similar, I've noticed, like within a couple of spots. Fantrax has one notable difference that we'll get to. ESP tends to lean more running back heavy than the other sites.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody values running backs, but they are way, way, way more into running backs than anybody else. So you'll notice that when you're scrolling through ESPN's rankings, they have way more running back. Like Zeke up here at 11. Nobody else has him that high in Dynasty.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know,
and they have Chubb way lower than where I've seen him.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, ESPN, like, I don't know.
Let's look through some of these rankings while we're here. Let's see. I don't use their rankings much
for ESPN's rankings from year to year. Like, whether it's Dynasty or Redraft, like, I never tend to agree with their rankings as much as some of these other sites.
I actually agree. I don't use their rankings much because my thoughts don't align with them much. They got like Justin Jefferson. They've got him really high.
I used to like Roto World, what's now that NBC Edge.
Mm-hmm.
I used to like them a lot better. They had a couple guys that wrote for them, but they've now left and started their own site, which is pretty much completely behind a paywall. Which
kind of like ESPN. ESPN's almost completely behind paywall now.
Yeah. Right, but these guys were actually like really good at their jobs.
Yeah.
So like people will pay for their stuff. Like I enjoy it. I won't pay for it because there's too much free. And there's really no point. But if there was one to buy, it's going to be theirs because they're what used to make RotoWorld so good.
Also, just FYI, people, we'll never show you anything behind a paywall. If we're paying for something, you'll never see it. We'll never show you anything behind a paywall on our streams. Sorry, just not going to do it.
Yeah, like the whole point of our deal is to show you stuff that you can access without paying for it. Because
plus morally, that's just wrong morally too. I mean, we're not going to show somebody's behind a paywall. I mean, so sorry, not sorry if you're expecting that or wanting that.
Right. Yeah, it's not what we're trying to do. There's so much free stuff that there's really no reason to pay for anything unless
Kyle, hide that little sharing tab down there so we can see these names.
I was wondering okay. But yeah, there's just so much free stuff. There's never a reason to have to pay for anything.
Yeah.
Unless, there's just someone you're really loyal to, like those guys that left, if they started their site and you're their friends. okay, by all means, support them, buy their stuff, whatever you want. But you don't have to buy anything to be
Yeah,
decent or good at
I
fantasy
think Fantasy
football.
Pros would be really cool. They have a lot of tools kind of behind a paywall. They have some really cool tools to use. In fact, I'd like to at some point do a giveaway. I'd like to supply one of our viewers with or a couple of them with that subscription to Fantasy Pros so that they can test that out and play with those tools. So
That would be cool.
be on the lookout for that. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And those
That would be
guys
a
are really
good
cool.
idea.
I've been in contact with those guys. They're awesome. Not only do they run a good, just solid site, but they're awesome guys, and they like helping out kind of these smaller channels like us and stuff. They're cool. So
Yeah. So that'd be, and like if you play a lot of daily fantasy stuff, people tend to put a lot of that stuff behind paywalls because most of that's playing
money.
for money. So they're thinking, oh, they'll pay to play for money.
yeah,
But and I think we're still going to try to do that DraftKings thing that we had talked about before, but that'll be way down the road. And there are things that you can find for free to
and we'll show
help
you how
with
to do
that,
that.
and we'll get through all that. But that's way down the road. So
Cool. Let's look at these rankings real quick here on ESPN.
So they got Kamara a little higher than most. Most sites have him down here, like behind Hill, which makes sense. I mean, with no Drew Brees, people are worried. I get it. But he's talented, so he's still a top 10 guy, obviously.
Right.
Everybody has Jefferson really, really high. Honestly, like, Jefferson's good. I'm not sure I could top myself in taking him in the first round yet. And then you got Brown and Metcalf. I love both of them. Corey, you've got concerns with them. You've mentioned you want no part of them in a first round.
I just don't. I don't know that I trust them as a first rounder. I don't know that I trust them over. I'm just looking at the names there, and I know that everyone talks about Derrick Henry, but I think he's got at least 2, maybe 3 more years in him. I don't know that I want one of them over Aaron Jones or Diggs, or Akers or Henry. Like
Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins. I just don't know that I see more value in them. Yes, they're good, but Justin Jefferson has 1 year so far where even Adam Thielen was feasting. So, like, maybe Kirk Cousins had an out-of-body experience. I don't trust Kirk Cousins to have a good season like that back-to-back. So, I don't trust his quarterback to be able to produce enough for him to be able to produce. And you know what? Prove me wrong. That's fine to me, but I don't trust it. And I may be totally wrong, and I'm fine with that. I don't want to take that risk on my first round pick.
That's how I feel
on Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
And on AJ Brown, that's probably silly to be scared of that.
Without Corey Davis or Jonnu Smith now, like.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a really safe bet. But he had some down. I mean they all have down games, but last year I feel like he wasn't. He came
more volatile.
The end of the season before that 2019 season, he was rocking it. The 2020 season, he had some boom games, but he also, man, he didn't produce at a high enough level to super impress me.
He also spent a lot of time injured. The beginning of the season, though.
And then DK Metcalf, kind of the same thing. Like, yeah, his quarterback's fantastic. So no worry about his quarterback play. Really just one good breakout season here. And I know people get caught up in some of that. I just have a hard time in one fantastic season being like it. That's like Lockett had a good season, but you don't see him way up here. Like, granted, this is Dynasty and the ranking is going to be further up because of his age and stuff. But I don't know. I don't necessarily trust it yet. And that's probably that's my conservative play style,
So for me, personally, and I'm going to go ahead out and go on a limb and say probably for you as well. Probably Diggs and Hopkins would be above, like between Hill and Jefferson.
Yes, especially Diggs. I would put Diggs up there over them for sure.
Honestly, I'd put Ridley up there as well.
Actually, I would too. I would put Ridley over them, and
especially now with all the talk that they might trade Julio because of the cap and stuff. It's even more reason to like Ridley. But I love Ridley.
Yeah, I see. I kind of put
like
those three up there that we were just talking about. I put people like McLaurin in that same as Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf. Like they're fantastic. They're really good. McLaurin's got his quarterback just upgraded.
CeeDee Lamb too,
and CeeDee Lamb. Very similar. These guys. Yeah,
all kind of that tough, same level.
But in Dynasty, it's a good pickup because they're young. You know,
they're young and the talent is there. That's the main two things you look for in a Dynasty.
Right.
Like the quarterback may or may not be the same forever. We just don't know.
But they may not even be on the same team. They may get traded. Their contract runs out. You know, who knows? But exactly. But then you and I were talking about Tyreek Hill. What a talented guy with a good quarter, but can he stay out of trouble? I don't know his history.
Bit of a knucklehead, you know.
He can screw that up at any point and just burn you. But I think he's a first round talent there. I think that one's worth the risk for sure. So. But he's proven year after year. He's got multiple seasons under belt. His quarterback isn't changing for 10 years with that contract. I mean, that's money right there. And Devontae Adams, don't even have to talk about it.
Yeah. Totally agree. So if you were making a top 10 for Dynasty, PPR, half PPR, full P, it doesn't matter, whatever, who's your top 10?
Oh, way to put me on the spot there. Because I'm kind of in the same mode. I think Jonathan Taylor's too high.
Yeah, everybody loves him, and I get it because the talent's there. It's the same way with Cam Akers. I like Cam Akers a lot too, but it's the same deal. Like they had a handful of games at the end of the season. Swift, same. Like, can you really rest your entire dynasty team on a pick like that in the first round?
Yeah, I don't know that I could.
I don't have the cojones for that.
No, I can't sit here and tell you what I would probably rank these guys in order without really. I would have to spend a lot of time on it, but
it's safe to say,
which is why this is hard. But I would move those wide receivers down, and I would move probably guys like Aaron Jones and Stephon Diggs. Those guys would be further up for me. I would even put Chubb and Eckler higher than like DeAndre Swift. I would put them a little higher. Derrick Henry, I think, is actually in a pretty decent spot. Maybe, yeah. So 12? I don't know. Yeah, I think that's probably pretty good for him. In a dynasty rank, I would probably even put like Aaron Jones above him. Maybe Eckler if it's a PPR league. If you're standard scoring, this is different. It does matter. So
yeah.
But it's tough. It's hard to sit here and criticize these rankings because it is so difficult and it's a guessing game. Fantasy football is a guessing game, and you have to go with your gut and not these rankings. I had my best season this last season, and I didn't base my lineups and stuff off of rankings. I based it off of my gut, and I had the best season ever. But that's not to dismiss these rankings. They do matter. They matter in trades and guiding you, but ultimately you have to make your own call. Just because someone's ranked 2 spots higher for a weekly ranking or for a draft or something, you don't have to go next best player. You make your own decision. If in a draft you have a gut feeling that someone's going to be better, then you jump down 6 spots down the draft board and you snag that guy.
Oh yeah, I jump down and pick up people earlier than I should all the time, rounds earlier.
But earlier than you should, according to
these people
somewhere.
Yeah, Yeah,
So yeah,
I'm with
I
you.
don't
Like,
rely on rankings.
I agree. It's hard to sit here. I should have phrased the question better. Who your top 10 is? Like, not necessarily in any order, but like for me, if I was putting a top 10 together in no particular order, like those top 7 there would be in it, and then I'd probably have like Henry, Diggs, and Aaron Jones as my last 3, and I
And
might even
if I'm
slide
being, I
Hopkins
mean,
or Kelsey in place of Taylor, maybe. But that would be really the only changes I would make, I think.
and here's my hot take. Why in the world are people down on Zeke? I understand he had one down season without Dak Prescott. And yes, their offensive line was demolished, but Zeke is Zeke, and he's 26 years old. What? You know they're going to play Pollard more because Pollard showed out, which is good for Zeke. That's good for Zeke because in Dynasty,
Here's
because Zeke will now last longer in Dynasty, and that's a good thing.
here's what I think the deal is. Fantasy football is a what have you done for me lately kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
So last year left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. A lot of people are going to think, oh man, like Dak's coming back. They got all these receivers. They're just going to throw. They're not going to run that much. That would be false because they have Zeke. It'd be goofy. He's
And
also
if
a
you
good
have good
pass
wide
catching.
receiving core, it opens up your running back.
Yeah, and he's a good, pass catching running back also. But like I think another part of the people might be thinking, I don't know if maybe I'm the only one, but he's only missed one game, his whole career so far. He's super durable, but maybe they're thinking he's due. Maybe they're thinking the larger
No.
workloads are going to wear him down, kind of like with Henry, but he doesn't quite get as larger workloads as Henry. But you know what I mean? But like everybody, I think if people overblow things when they have a bad taste in their mouth about somebody from a season.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I agree. But then
if you
they
get
but they
Zeke
get
at
on that
11,
like
I think you're getting a
but I
steal
think
if you get Zeke at 11.
yeah, I think Zeke's getting the same treatment that Justin Jefferson is. Justin Jefferson had a good season. Everyone's like, "Yeah, Justin Jefferson, he's the best ever." And Zeke had a down year, so they're playing. So I think they're getting the same treatment, just opposite ways. But
Yeah.
in that same boat, Diggs should be higher there. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't understand
Yeah.
that.
I don't know, man. Sometimes I feel like they're flipping a coin on some of these people with these different rankings, but
Yeah, and that's fine. Let's compare that. I'm gonna pull
going
over
back
some
over
fantasy
here.
pros here real quick, and kind of see what they got because they're pretty similar
Pretty close
up
up
until about
till
Derrick Henry here,
number
right?
10.
Like they have Justin Jefferson more down at 12. Okay, instead of 8, I can appreciate that.
I'd
They
still
still have
put him
Jonathan Taylor up at
below.
4.
I'd still
Diggs
put Jefferson below
and
the
Aaron
next
Jones.
5 people.
Yeah, I would probably have him right here above Swift, and then I would actually have Calvin Ridley. I mean, I would have Calvin Ridley way further up. I think that's silly.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. Totally agree.
but again, here's Zeke down at 21, and if he's there when we come to pick 21, because that's the pick we own, then
He's
sign me up for
ours.
that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's to me that's silly, but
yeah.
but I could get burned on that big time. But he's also a Cowboy. I love my Cowboys.
You and
So
me
that's a
both.
risk
We're
I'm
running
willing
the
to
team
take.
together. I'll be just as excited to
I'm
get him there as you would.
yeah, I'm willing to take that.
If you'd have told me
I'm
this
not
time a
willing.
year ago that I would have McCaffrey and Zeke together on a dynasty team, it
Yeah.
wouldn't even seem possible.
And here's another thing though, like that may be seen as risky. Zeke may be seen as risky right now, but that's a risk I'm willing to take over DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson, even DK Metcalf, and Jonathan Taylor. Like those to me, even Cam Akers, I feel like those are all more risky than Zeke.
You know how you eliminate some of that risk? You draft Tony Pollard late.
Yeah.
Just make sure you get Pollard and you're covered. Honestly, I
Yeah.
mean,
But Dynasty rankings are a little bit more interesting because then you get down here into like the 30. Like this is another one of those "what have you done lately" things. Joe Mixon being this low is silly. Austin Eckler was hurt, but he did good as soon as he came back. He was great. Got hurt, it came back and was great again. I don't understand him being down at 35, but what do I know? I mean,
I'm sorry, but I am not taking Miles Sanders, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Allen Robinson. I'm not taking any of these guys above Eckler,
Darren Waller,
Gibson, Joe Mixon. Like, I don't agree with that.
It makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, me either.
But hey, if people are looking into this and that's what we get from that, I will take it.
Yeah.
So then, okay, so we have, let's see, we have pick 40. What did we trade away? I already forgot.
2, 5, and 8.
We traded away our 5th. So we have our 4 still.
So we have pick 40. We have pick 21 and 40.
So 40, I mean, you're getting down into here. Even if you jump down a little bit, if all these are gone before us, which isn't going to happen because people are going to take quarterbacks too early, it's going to happen.
Yep.
And so you might have someone like, I mean, I'll take Keenan Allen, fine. But even going further beyond 40, in case everyone goes in this exact order, even below that.
Look who, like James Robinson at 43. No shot he lasts that long.
No
Kyler
way.
Murray, Ayuk, Robert Woods. Give me any of them.
Yeah, I mean, what talent there.
DJ Chark, Chase Claypool,
Then, I mean, good God, keep going down to the 60 here.
Julio Jones, Chris Carson at 60 to 61, like Odell Beckham at 64. This is ridiculous.
I mean, sign me up for that.
Dude, this draft is so deep. The talent's so deep this year.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about our position. I feel really good about it. Okay, let's jump over to another ranking really quick.
This is making me want less and less to trade any more of our middle round picks.
Correct. My thoughts exactly. So, so here, this is the score. Top 200 on PPR, and they have Jonathan Taylor a little bit lower.
They have Jones.
Good on them. They have Aaron Jones way higher. Good on them. They have Zeke way higher.
This looks way accurate to me.
Yeah, I actually like these rankings quite a bit. They have Calvin Ridley higher, Cam Akers higher. They have Miles Sanders a lot higher, Austin Eckler a lot higher, Mixon. I'm actually liking these rankings. DK Metcalf lower. Okay, so now these guys. Now, this is their dynasty rankings. Oh wait, it said when I clicked on it. This actually may not be dynasty. I swore I clicked on dynasty. Hold on, let me see the score. Oh, I didn't do that. Hold on. They should have dynasty. I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay, that does make a difference. Yeah, I was like, DK's way too low. Like even for me, DK was too low on that.
Yeah, well, I swore I clicked on that, but I guess not. All right, well, I'm a failure, but dude, those still line up more even with my dynasty rankings. I like those rankings quite a bit, if I'm being completely honest. That's pretty close to how I would even do my dynasty.
Yeah, I'd move Sanders down quite a bit, I think. But otherwise,
I would have Ridley higher. I would have DK higher. I would have Justin Jefferson higher.
Probably flip Sanders Ridley.
Yeah. So this is a little off, but it's not that far off from what. Okay, let's go to something else. 2019. What the heck did this bring up? My Google searches are not doing well. Here, you have some up though, Kyle, right?
Let's just do like what was it, the score you're at? Can you just go to the website and maybe navigate to some?
It's no online. The app is really easy to navigate. Online, it's not. So if you have the score on your phone, it's going to be way, way easier to do. They don't really, I don't know. It's not easy on here, and it's kind of annoying. So, not worth it.
Yeah, you're right. This is kind of
Yeah,
a
it's not good. All right, here, go to
kind of
your
a lame
rankings really
website.
quick. Let's see what you got going here.
So let's see. Here's fan tracks. Let me. I want to new tab that. Let's see if I can get the if I can't navigate to it for some reason on here. I know how to. Yeah, this is. Okay, give me 1 second. Here we go. Dynasty. If I remember right, it wasn't too far down the list here. Yeah. Yeah, so here's theirs. April 12th was the last update. So here's the notable difference I mentioned earlier. When you scroll down to the top 240, George Kittle, number 3. Huh? They're really high on George Kittle, which I am too, but number 3 is a bit high for me even.
Wow, that's way high. Huh?
They got Brown, the number 1 receiver.
Now they have that's weird too, but they have Diggs up higher, which seems to make sense. They have Michael Thomas way too high. They have Justin Jefferson about where everyone else does. They have Jonathan Taylor lower. They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire way higher, and CeeDee Lamb way higher.
Lowest I've seen. This is the lowest I've seen Taylor, I think, in any Dynasty ranking.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is way high, above DK Metcalf. Kamara is super low. They got Kamara and Akers back to back. They got Gibson super high, which he's kind of a fantasy player sweet darling, I guess, this year all of a sudden. I don't know. Like, he did good last year, but everybody's really loving Gibson this year. Not necessarily in the rankings, but like when you go on like Twitter and stuff and you're seeing comments on rankings and stuff, like everybody's like Gibson. You're like, okay, well, maybe there's something we don't know here, you know?
That's interesting.
We got Henry super low, Aaron Jones way down here under Mixon, Eckler right there, Ridley at 31. Like,
dude, I hope everyone looks at these rankings.
Like, we
should send these out to the league.
Yeah, I'm just gonna email this out to everybody.
Here you go, guys. Found the best rankings possible.
So
we like to take risks, so we're gonna take these really low down players.
What's funny is like they look weird compared to everybody else's rankings, but like compared to like the players that I like, I feel like a lot more of the ones I like are ranked higher, which is weird. But then there's still random ones tossed in, like Mike Thomas, Jefferson.
Yeah, I actually dislike these rankings quite a bit. These are way off, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like they went for like hot take Dynasty ranking. So yeah, I'm not necessarily a fan of those.
Sorry, Fantrax. I'll tag you in our posts.
Maybe not. You wanna jump over
FF
here?
Today.
FF Today.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, these are the Dynasty ones. All right, so I wish they had like a top overall. They break them out by position. No, I think they're going to like later on in the off season. They have like they do a bunch of stuff, like update everything. But they've done these and they're just broken out by position right now. But like we can jump over here to running backs and kind of see what they've got going on at running back. They put like for some of the ones that are a little bit controversial or talked about a lot, like they have a little comment over here. Excuse me. But like they've got Swift and Chubb a lot higher than a lot of people. Akers.
This is old because they still have Aaron Jones as a free agent. Appears to be done in Green Bay. So these are old rankings here.
Oh, Mark. It's March
Same with
5th.
Yeah. So these aren't going to be so great, probably. DeAndre Swift at
pretty much
4, man, that is.
Yeah, like even in March 5th, I didn't buy that one. I like Chubb, but he's too high here.
Let's say about J.K. Dobbins out of curiosity. Do they have anything on him down there? They have Mostert. Pretty. They have a little thing on him. I mean, over on the right side, they have any comments?
Yeah, they don't have.
That's it?
No, they don't.
Say. Okay. It's too bad.
No,
I was curious to see what they thought.
The ones that have little notations here have stuff.
I mean, they
here,
have him. They have him above Derrick Henry. So I was curious on why.
Mostly based on age and workload, probably.
Yeah. Hey, I'm loving that Joe Mixon is so low on these because
we might get him like in the 6th round or something.
Jeez, it's nuts. They seriously have him at the 20th running back. Chris Carson at the 21st running back. Like, but they still have Josh Jacobs up at number 19, David Montgomery at 18. So that's how you know these are old.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way you have those guys over Chris Carson and whatnot.
But I mean, like, even if they updated them today, only a handful of these guys would move up or down. Like, it wouldn't change that much.
Right.
Jones would move up. Sanders would probably move down. Montgomery and Jacobs would move down.
Joe Mixon is going, his stock will either stay the same or it will raise depending on how Cincy drafts.
Joe Mixon has not gotten the respect he deserves since he got in the league. And he's not he's not had an O-line since he got in the league either, so he hasn't really earned it yet. But
if they draft some offensive linemen for him, then he's going to be cooking. So
yeah, and then last year he starts off probably the best he has, and then he gets hurt and misses the rest of the season. Like, that's the knock on Joe Mixon. Is even when he was at Oklahoma, he got hurt a lot. He missed a lot of games with injury there too. So, and this wasn't his first time to get injured in Cincinnati either. So
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna pull back over here. So this is what we're looking at. These are the 2 trades we have out right now. These 3rd, 4th, 14th for a 1st. I think I'm gonna cancel that. I don't think we want that. Looking at these rankings and kind of where we're at,
I think we should keep our 3rd and 4th.
I agree.
That other one though that you sent to Omaha up there, I like.
Yeah, and it's not a bad. I mean, it wouldn't actually be a bad deal for him either. So, because he's moving up 2 rounds later, it just depends on how much he values that 3rd. He still has his 1st and 2nd. I think that's like the 6th pick in the 3rd round. So he's going to pick 26 there. Moving up for us from pick 40. That's pretty good. But even pick 40, I mean, we were just looking at those rankings, guys. There's such good players still there. So
I'm not going to be devastated if he declines, no.
Right. Like, and even a 6th rounder there at pick 60, there's players there I'm going to be more than happy to have. So, not worried about it. So, but if I were him and I were looking at those rankings, I'd be thinking the same thing. Pick 40, I'd be more than happy to have that. But coming off about the 8th round, I would rather bump up to the 6th round and have those choice of players for sure. So that's just me, though. I would rather jump up there and have a choice at the 60s than in the 80s, but that's just me, or 70s or whatever. Or I guess 6th round is like 50s, whatever, however that works. But
6th round,
so I canceled
one.
Yeah. So I went ahead and canceled that one offer. I'm going to leave this one on the table for Omaha, and we'll see what he says about that. It's too bad he didn't hop on here tonight to chat with us because we could have just talked through that right now. But I sent that to him probably about an hour before we went live, so he hasn't had a lot of time probably to look at it, or maybe he hasn't even seen it at all. Hard to say.
I know.
But Otherwise, I don't think we had talked about trading our 4th and 6th to move up to the 3rd round, but I don't necessarily want to do another 2-for-1 deal. I don't think so.
No, if this one gets declined, honestly, I'm good just sitting tight and just draft from where we're at.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good deal going, honestly. We had talked about getting that number 4 overall pick. Now, if we can get a deal done there, I think that changes things. And I think we've talked about that. I think if we can get that number 4 overall pick, then I think we do it. But
yeah, as much as it would make me nervous because of what it would cost, it would just be too exciting to have that pick with the other two we already have in that first round.
Get 3 first rounders in there. I mean,
we'd have 3 first rounders, and then we wouldn't pick again till what, the 5th,
7th round or something. We'd probably have to give that up. No, we've already traded away our 5th.
No, because it was the same person that gave us the 8th, so we were.
Oh, right.
So we had to readjust. If she decided to trade the 4th, it was going to be we get our 5th back, and then they get 3, 4, 6, and 8 or something wild. Basically we'd have 3 first rounders and then a 6th rounder or a 5th rounder.
Because we would be giving them 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 for the number 4 and number 8 pick.
Yeah,
which is actually pretty. It's probably pretty fair.
It is fair, but it sucks a little bit.
But man, it does suck a little bit.
That's why it sucks a little bit, because we'd go 3 first rounders, then we'd pick in the 5th round, the 7th round, and then the 9th round, and on.
It'd be tough. That would be a tough pill to swallow. But also, then you would have 3 first round picks, and we'd have an amazing roster to start off with there. So.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
2, 3, 4, 6, and 8 for number 4, number 8. Yeah, so we lose 3 late picks basically. Yeah, it works for me. It works for me, but when you look at these rankings, you're like, oh, I get to watch 4 rounds of everybody taking all this talent while I sit there with my 3. It's a lot of talent, yeah. While I sit there with my 3 guys, even though my 3 guys would be better than anybody else's 3 guys they could put together.
Yeah, it would get interesting. It would be hard. It would be hard to sit there and watch that, and it's a slow draft, so it's going to last days. So you get to sit there and
2 weeks to make another pick.
So we're going to get to sit there, and it's just going to be agonizing. As you can imagine the time you're sitting there waiting for your pick number 1, right, in a draft, and you're waiting for pick 20, and you're just watching all these people get drafted. Then you pick 2021, and then you have to wait all the way till pick 40. Everyone knows that feeling of watching 18 picks.
Player after player after player.
Oh my gosh. And it's I wanted that player. It's agonizing. Imagine that drawn out over days. Oh my gosh.
What cracks me up about that, you saying that, is most of the other leagues that I'm in are in ESPN, and they have in their draft tool, they have that queue function where you can put a player in there. I always loved, we didn't do it last year because of COVID, but we usually will try to all get together in the boardroom at work, for my work league, and do that. And at least 3 people will have all these players in their queues and their sound on, and you can just hear, dang it, every time one of their guys goes. It's so hilarious. I love it.
I've stopped adding people to my queue because I became paranoid that every time I added somewhere, then it would send an alert to all of the other players that I had added them to my queue so that they knew who to take next.
Yeah,
so the person, I think it sent it to the person who drafted right before me, so they knew exactly who to take right before it was my turn. And so I stopped using the queue because I feel like there was some espionage going on there, all because I didn't pay for ESPN Plus, and they were like, "We'll show you," and so.
I know you can't even read Matthew Berry for free anymore.
What the heck? His love-hate isn't that great. It's kind of fun because it was free.
It's a fun read, and now you got to pay for it? Nope.
Yeah, no thanks. I'll watch your free Sunday show right before kickoff. Thanks. Fantasy Football Now. as
Well,
long as it's free.
they're gonna put that on pay-per-view before long, online only, ESPN
I'm
Plus.
sure they will. Yeah.
They'll put it on Disney Plus or something. Stream it live on Disney Plus.
Right. Like, oh, you're paying for ESPN Plus? Well, now you have to pay for Disney Plus too. Like, man.
So we won't go into depth on the other Dynasty League yet.
Dude, let's hold off on that. Yeah.
We're gonna wait until we're getting ready to draft. We're gonna wait a couple weeks. Probably try to get through all or as much as possible of this other draft before we start that one.
Yeah, totally. We don't want that to be confusing for you guys, and then
yeah.
Also, those guys want to hold off a little bit longer to see where those rookies kind of land and what's going on with them, how that situation looks. So they want a little bit more time to prepare.
Yeah,
it's more of a different crowd.
It's just a bunch of our friends and people in there having fun, and so they want to spend a little more time. Whereas this one is taken a little more seriously, but it's still for fun, obviously. But it's like these people are serious, so we're jumping right into that one. But I just wanted to touch base on the other one and say we do have it filled. We do have a draft order, and people are prepping and getting ready to go. So that one is ready to go. We will have that for you in a couple weeks.
Cool. What is going on? I have a YouTube video that just started in another thing. Sorry, I got that was fun.
Haunted?
Yeah, it is. I don't know, some other window. It's actually like a NFL funniest moments of 2020-2021 season.
Huh.
So cool. I mean, I had it pulled up. I just don't know why it started, but whatever. Anyways, that's beside the point. I see we have a viewer. I don't know who that is. You can do a little shout out there if you want to say, hey, we'll put you on screen. Hey. No, cool. Alrighty, let's wrap this sucker up. Kyle, you want to?
They're like, I'm out.
Yeah, they're like, deuces. Don't thank you. All right, cool. You want to go play some Rocket League, man? Different game.
I always want to play Rocket League. Come on.
Yeah, let's go play some Rocket League. All right, guys, it's been fun. Reach out to us if you have any questions about rankings or want to talk about football. Always down to talk about football.
Always.
Cool, guys. Have a good night. We'll talk to you later. We'll keep you updated.
See you next time.